everybody, it's Shadowstar and Crystal here for another episode of The Flash. This time it's Paradox, and it's an interesting one.
It's not really about a paradox.
It's an episode where, on first watching, it might be intriguing, but when you watch it a second time, it doesn't feel as exciting or crazy.
Not much happened.
Yeah, well, no, that's the thing though. I can imagine on your first time watching, it's all fresh and exciting and everything's intriguing. It doesn't mean it's a great thing, but it's intriguing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you've always got to try and put yourself into that perspective when you're rewatching an episode where sometimes, and it's no fault of the show, sometimes you just need episodes like this where it's a lot of info dumping, if you will.
Yeah.
Like, sure, we face off against a rival again, but all in all, the bulk of the episode is all about learning about this post-Flashpoint timeline. And I wish Barry would tell the distinct difference. He keeps saying that other timeline, and he's not sure, and sometimes it's not sure whether he's referring to your lives in Flashpoint or pre-Flashpoint.
Yeah.
There's lives as pre-Flashpoint, post-Flashpoint, and actual Flashpoint.
Yeah, like when he gave them the choice, I wasn't sure if they were trying to decide which one, and I'm like, I understand not wanting to know about Flashpoint because that was really different, but if there's a change between now and the original, you should want to know.
I don't know, but what good would knowing about the pre-Flashpoint timeline do? Well, the fun part is the first half of this story is told to us through Barry telling Felicity.
Yeah?
Didn't really achieve much other than for Barry to have a convenient way to tell us all the changes, and one change that doesn't affect the Flash is Diggle now has a son instead of a daughter. This achieves nothing and has no real point. Like, all these other changes are plot points in Flash. But Diggle having a son, what's the big difference?
I don't know. I mean, I doubt they've planned this far back to have that character that... I don't know.
Well, I would like to point out, as you probably brought up in that episode, remember in the Legends episode where we visited Future Star City, Diggle has a son called John Diggle Jr., and here he does again.
Yeah, it was his son, but he was using the name Connor Hawke, which doesn't make sense because Connor Hawke is a separate person.
That's a whole different story for another day.
Yeah.
But maybe that's a change of Flashpoint too. Oh, who cares? But there's another point of Flashpoint that the show doesn't tell us, but it's important to keep in your mind. Up until this point, and until we have another reality-changing event of a similar nature, Flashpoint also acts as a good fix-it. Basically, if there's a continuity nod between Season 1 and 2 and anything after Season 1 and 2, it's not a continuity error, it's a Flashpoint change.
It's like people have pointed out in the Blackout episode, Wells names people who have died.
And one of those
he
people
says,
is somebody who will show up later.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few times where something that seems like it could be a continuity nod doesn't have to be. And basically, anything that seems different can be anything. We don't know although things seemingly played mostly the same in this pre-Flashpoint in Season 2 in the post-Flashpoint timeline.
Apparently Barry and Iris didn't have that scene where they kissed.
No, because she probably wouldn't have been at his house. So, but that's the thing. Things played mostly the same, but anything can be different. It's like we learn about the character Julian, and he's been here for a year at Barry's office. But what about events that took place at Barry's offices that was significant in Season 2? Like when, I don't know, Zoom was at Barry's office. Or anything else crazy happened at Barry's office. I don't know either. And was there still a Patty? Was Patty around with Julian there? There's so many questions you can ask, because Julian just throws a wrench into the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, there's other changes, of course. We get to...
Yeah, it seems like Caitlin is the only one who doesn't ever change until we get a quick moment where something happens.
Exactly, which we'll get into that in a handful of episodes with what's going on with Caitlin. But we have drama between Joe and Iris. Good news, it doesn't last beyond this episode. Same goes for the Cisco drama. I hate drama, but good news is it's not as bad if it doesn't last past an episode. I'm more forgiving if it lasts less than an episode, and it does. Thank God it doesn't go on any longer for the Joe and Iris, and Cisco's still kind of on the fence.
Yeah.
Cisco does say he's building himself a suit, So he's gonna, he's also seemed to perfect his powers. Because pre-Flashpoint, he's never used his powers to attack except one time purely out of fear.
Oh yeah, when they were running from Black Siren after he couldn't catch, and
Yeah.
he did
But he's
it
only
once.
done that once, yeah. But, oh well. But yeah, that's all the changes. And yeah, we face off against a rival. We still have our ongoing, cliffhanger with somebody called Alchemy who scratches windows. We did get to see the real Jay, who was nice to tell Barry a lesson to stop being an idiot.
Yeah. Although Barry keeps saying no more time travel, can't change the timeline, would it really change so much if he would just go back and take Dante out the car when he supposedly gets hit by a drunk driver?
Well, as we've just proven by the mess of last episode, apparently changing one seemingly insignificant thing can change everything, so you don't know how things are going to change. So, yeah, let's not...
What's Dante gonna do to change stuff?
Let's not try and find out. But did he die before all that mess with Rupture? Remember, this episode still takes place right after the previous episode. And the previous episode, from everyone except Barry's perspective, takes place the same right after the finale. So there hasn't been a huge gap in time. Any odd thing is just because of the post-Flashpoint timeline. I guess these husks have been around even during the Zoom mess. They would have had to have been. Well, they would have had to have been because this only took place a day after, which also raises, which again raises questions because, if this all took place very close after season 2, how did Dante play into it? Obviously, we didn't have that stuff with Rupture, or at least that stuff with Rupture would have had to have played out at least somewhat differently. He would have still tracked down Cisco, but Cisco wouldn't have vibed Dante and thought, geez, I've got to go see my brother, something's happening, because he's already dead. But oh well, that's not a plot hole, we just have to wonder what things were like in this new timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah. But all in all, yeah, it's like I said, it's an info dump episode, and it's hard to judge that. But yeah, I suppose the most enjoyable character in this episode for some reason is Wally. I suppose because he's totally innocent in all this drama, and then Wally's just on the side. I don't know why I enjoyed that.
And I love how, they realize alchemy is giving people back powers that they have, and then there's a shot of just Wally.
Because Barry he says that, and then he looks at Wally because he knows Wally had powers in the original Flashpoint. So we got that to look forward to. Like I said, season 3 is where Wally finally becomes interesting. I mean, he was good in the end of season 2 as well, but I'm gonna give this a 7.5. It's really
I was gonna say 7.
It's really hard to judge an info dump episode because I don't think it's awful by any means. It's just not something that's crazy. Like I said, I still find it is somewhat exciting. Obviously, look, you got the Caitlin cliffhanger, you got the Alchemy cliffhanger, Wally had some good moments, and Jay had some good speeches. So those were all good points, and all this new information would be really exciting and intriguing if it's your first time. So you always got to keep that in mind. So, 7.5.
Yeah, I'll go 7.
Yeah, but, hey, the season 3 is going to get interesting. What's the next episode called?
Magenta.
I remember actually liking next episode.
It's alright.
I remember stuff that happens, but we'll see if everything I remember happens. But I suppose that's it. Yeah. We'll see you next time for more Flash and other things as well. See you next time, guys.